So the Rolls Royce project, don't remember if I updated it, but the biggest thing here is the engine was seized up. You can see the top of the piston on there, a lot of corrosion inside, build up in other cylinders. So here's a couple of the pictures took just after we got the head off, showing the actual buildup of corrosion before getting cleaned up a little bit. Working on getting this guy out. Rolls Royce actually used 12 different control rods that they found. There's last one to get out is actually the throttle, which you see goes through the engine block to the carb that would have sat on this side. Got most components off. Still got to get some of the bottom skirts out. And then we'll actually pull it up, leaving the steering box in. But I still got to get the skirts off to get the vibration dampeners out, which you can't really tell because how much grease is on this thing. So this thing obviously was just driven, very little maintenance done in its lifetime. But it is a very original vehicle, and hopefully we'll get this running soon. And maybe it'll go back to work, which you can't quite tell, but it is a beautiful Hearse body. Okay, it needs to be redone, but it is still a very neat car. One of the other challenges I found here is lots of wiring modifications. The original cloth covered stuff, well, I just broke that a little bit just touching it. Let's see, here's another. This is actually for the horn, and it was actually just about falling off, so got that. But anyway, I've got to redo a lot of wiring to get this working right. That's actually the original fuse block, which you can field repair. So that one's one piece of wire, so it's a 5 amp. Get 2 across there, we got 10. Okay, I don't know what they made their own. It's lots of things to fix. You can see if that'll focus. Just a pile of old cloth wiring sitting there. So there's another fun one on the wiring. This is actually for the headlight system. Was sitting on the axle here, but since I have it up, I actually tried to rip those wires off. They never accounted for suspension travel. So other things going on with the Rolls Royce is these are some new brake drums. They're actually new old stock. And it's probably a good thing. The original one is highly corroded. You can see here's the original drums that were on the vehicle. The 2 spots where it actually had corroded all the way through, and you can see most of the fins that were 1/2 inch. I'm actually waiting for new tap and die set out of England, of course, so I can fix these. These are British standard fine threads. So, and this is back brakes on the Rolls Royce. It's 14-inch drums. You can actually see there's a separate shoe for your foot brake and then your hand brake. This is, of course, mechanical brakes being a 37. So, and then there's actually some of the control systems for that. You can see there's adjustments. There's a central oiling. Say there's a foot pump for the operator. And all those tiny copper pipes come down, keep things lubricated. There's actually, and they did cables from the chassis down to the axle, which is a really nice design. Those particular levers were probably the most difficult to get off and get reconditioned, but we managed to do that despite all our corrosion here. There's the shock system, which is also adjustable by the driver, has central oiling, and that will be a later challenge to get apart and rebuilt. Getting ready to got some new tires for the Rolls Royce, send out the wheels. get them sandblasted, powder coated, all that good stuff. Of course, I got to take off the weight balancing units. Those actually have lead weights in them to balance on the car. But big delay there is one of these will not come off. I can see we've been getting a little more aggressive with it. We'll actually have to set the car back on the ground and try and see if we can't get that off and get it going. Interestingly enough, this is the one front wheel that they had the brakes disconnected on, because the brake system is also seized up. So this particular Rolls Royce probably has not run, I believe we think somewhere in the 60s or 70s, but I can tell it wasn't taken too good a care of from the get-go. It's a lot of corrosion buildup. That's actually the water pump inlet. Water pump would have sat right here, driven off that rag joint. And I was hoping some of these ports for the coolant actually did have calcium buildup enough to block. I think I've poked too many of those and they've fallen in. Let's go look at the sludge here. So this, of course, we have its overhead valve, so the cam comes here, but this is actually inside its lifters. If I hold still enough, you can kind of see the amount of sludge buildup. This isn't even what's in the oil pan. Oil pan, of course, is much worse. I think that's probably close to an inch thick down there. I actually had to poke through it to drain the oil out.